And we're live with another episode of BS Busters. Um, I mean, you know, it's been a wild week. So before we get into introductions and stuff, I guess we should have a moment of silence for the people who lost their lives and were wounded in the Jacksonville gaming uh, convention shootout. So, moment of silence. Okay, then. All right, I think that was appropriate. Um, so yeah, this just happened today. I saw it. I was like, well, it's unfortunate. I don't really want to say anything else about it until more information comes out and we know more about what's going on, because I don't want to just put my mouth into it and not knowing the full details of what's going on. But
Yeah, at least until further notice, we at least we here at the BS Busters want to at least give the people that were affected by what happened their moment to say that. I mean, a moment to say that we understand that you're going through a lot and hope that things are going for the better.
yeah, stay strong, stay strong. Don't lose your I don't want to say your
I'm
faith,
not I'm not gonna go into a song cue for that one.
but don't give up on living just because something bad happens. So um, to recuperate from that downer of a of a
Of a news moment.
yeah, that downer from a news moment, we're gonna dive into Gamescom, um, 2018, which
Which,
ended this.
which I sadly didn't watch live stream because I've been busy.
Well, I wasn't gonna watch it live stream anyway, even if I had the time, because I have no reason. Like there's nothing going on at Gamescom that's worth watching a live stream of. You know what I mean? Because you can just get the information, and you get more information from a write up that goes in the depth of what they said and encapsulates it than trying to wade through all that bullshit. So I guess let's do the PC stuff first because it's easier. The hardware announcements. So basically, Nvidia had a field day at this year's Gamescom talking about their new graphics cards that they're going to put out that are going to be really expensive because it's Nvidia. Nvidia doesn't know the meaning of, hey,
Be right back. My dinner is ready.
all right. Nvidia doesn't know the meaning of, hey,
Slow down.
let's not rape your wallet. We're Nvidia.
This goes into something that I was gonna mention as soon as I think that it was safe about it, but I might as well mention it now. What is with all these beeping graphical card updates? I'm using air quotes here. That talk about all these phenomenal cosmic powers, and
Oh,
yet they don't say how much of it is comparison to being hard to being something that could be worth it as far as gaming goes, or something else.
well, I mean, graphics cards are there to basically take the load off of the GPU. It's like a graphics card is a dedicated device that just outputs graphics and special effects. Which, I mean, if you like gaming on PC or you don't want to spend, $600, $700 on a PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and then a lot of games, a graphics card is a great alternative. The problem with NVIDIA, I find, is that, well, not just NVIDIA, graphics card in general.
Overheat?
Well, no, not really overheating. Really, I mean, maybe back in the day, but modern graphics cards now have like inborn heat sinks, and as long as it's well ventilated, it's not going to overheat. No, the problem with graphics cards is that is not inherent with those graphics cards themselves. It's that developers and hardware manufacturers and other people like that equate the next generation of whatever with graphical fidelity instead of better gameplay, better artificial intelligence in a game, a more in-depth world. Like, I mean, let's say you play a game like let's say you play Breath of the Wild. Okay, I'm going to use Breath of the Wild as an example, right? Breath of the Wild is a very impressive game on a technical level because of what they were able to do. Because basically, that game is built on Wii U hardware specs. Even if it's on the Switch, it's built on Wii U hardware specs. But even then, there's some things that I would love to see and that I would have loved to have seen in Breath of the Wild that just wasn't possible due to the technology at the time. Like, I would love to see when you go to what they call in the game a city, it would be awesome if it had a lot of people in it, if there was population density. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, like,
I'm trying to not get a headache trying to think of how bad, how redundant it is, trying to compare graphics to technical power.
Yeah, they keep on equating next generation. Well, this is the 8th gen. Like, graphical fidelity was interesting back in the 3rd and 4th and 5th and 2nd gen and the 6th gen. But then once you had the jump from the 6th gen to the 7th gen, like, graphics were pretty damn good in the 6th gen. Graphics got
like diminishing returns, basically.
Yeah, once the 6th gen hit, you were getting diminishing returns of graphical fidelity. Like, now, yeah, these games are pretty, but like the basic gameplay structure and abilities that a game has have stayed the same from 6th to 7th gen. You know, at least I've noticed. Like, I mean, like Mario 64 is one of my favorite 3D. Well, I mean, it's considered to be like the seminal.
Mario 3, I mean, Mario 64 would be the 3D platform icon, right?
Well, Mario 64 is the Super Mario Brothers of 3D platformers. Like, basically, when Super Mario Brothers came out, it's basically a template for 2D platformers going forward. Mario 64 is the template for 3D platformers. And a lot of those techniques and formulas that were created back then for that game are still in use now. The same thing with Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Like it or not, a lot of the gaming techniques that were created so that that game could work in 3D are still in use now. So it's very seminal. Like, I'm not saying it's the best 3D Legend of Zelda game.
It's like
I'm not saying Mario 64 is the best.
Blueprint.
Yeah, it's the blueprint. It's like I was recently went on a discus thing, and a guy, one of the moderators, put this article up basically saying, you know, why are people fighting over gens? And I'm like, well, each gen has its pluses and minuses. But I mean, if I had to argue for the best gen, I would just say it's Gen 1. Not because Gen 1's good, but because if you didn't have Gen 1, every other Gen wouldn't exist. It's the progenitor. It's the first generation. So basically, it's kind of like if you didn't have Mario 64, you wouldn't have Banjo-Kazooie. You wouldn't have Conker's Bad Fur Day. Hell, you wouldn't have Spyro the Dragon. You don't think Mark Cerny and the people over there at Sony didn't play Mario 64 and say, shit, so this is how you make a 3D open world game. If you don't think those motherfuckers didn't play that game, you're insane. You're out of your damn mind, because they definitely did.
I was going to ask how much they took. I agree on you on that.
Probably a lot of it. I mean, and look, here's the thing, okay? It's kind of like the first person to make pizza, right? And then people would copy that person and add their own tweaks. But if you didn't have that first person who made a fucking pizza, the other people wouldn't have made a pizza. So it's like you got to give props to the first one. So I mean, you know, but back to the graphics card argument. Graphics cards are important, like I said, if you want to play certain games, because basically it takes the load off of your CPU. So you don't have to have the best CPU in order to play certain games. So if you game on PC, or if a hardware developer is like nowadays, if they don't want to do everything themselves with their own custom architecture like Nintendo used to do, they basically do a graphics card to offload some of the heavy work that a processor or onboard architecture would have to do. And the problem is that it seems that every graphics card manufacturer keeps on doubling down on not manufacturer, but basically like the narrative is that the graphics are basically what makes something next gen or better. And I don't ascribe to that, because like the graphics have been getting better since the 6th gen. Well, before then, because even the 3rd gen, like games were looking better from the 3rd gen to the 4th gen, from the 4th gen to the 5th gen, from the 5th gen to the 6th gen. But now we're reaching a point where it's like, okay, if you game on Nintendo, you're in the 9th gen of Nintendo. No, the 9th gen of Nintendo consoles. And I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, the games on the Switch don't necessarily look better than what they were on the Wii U.
They got some high fidelity, that's for sure. Though, if anything, it depends on the game of choice on how well it's running. Period.
I mean, like, okay, you can't. I mean, when you say higher fidelity, maybe higher resolution textures are being used for some of the games, but I mean, you can't even really notice that in handheld mode. You have to have a HD TV to recognize that. And the thing is that the Wii U was an HD system. It just did 720p, whereas the Switch is like natively, if you have a 1080p TV, it does 1080p. But I mean, it's about. I mean, I think the Wii U gamepad was natively. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to this. I think it was natively 720p. I think. Don't hold me to that. I'm because I don't think that the gamepad for the Switch is natively HD. So even then, it's like you have higher resolution textures being used in some of the games, but it doesn't fucking matter because the screen's not HD. I don't think. Don't hold me to that. I'm not entirely sure. It could be HD. I don't know. But I mean, I'm just saying, like the uptick in graphical power is negligible, and the games aren't necessarily any better because I mean you're seeing a lot of ports. I mean, I'm not seeing anything on the Switch where I'm like, man, this couldn't have been done on the last gen system.
For me, I actually am appreciative of some of the games that are on the system, though. When I look at some of them, it makes me kind of sad that some of them could have been on the Wii U too.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, like, I'm not poo-pooing all the games that are on the system. I'm just saying that, by and large, I haven't seen a game on the Switch where I'm like, this couldn't have been done on the last system that Nintendo had. Maybe the new Mario Party with the whole like you can have like different like game pads connected together. That's kind of unique, but I mean, like Mario Odyssey, it's a beautiful game, but I think that could have been done on the Wii U. Might not have been. You might not have had as massive a world in some areas, and the HD rumble probably wouldn't have been there. So certain parts of the game probably would have felt as good, like when you go to the soda beach and you go in the water and it's fizzing and you can feel the fizz on your with your HD rumble. That's kind of cool, but I mean, like that's not a graphical thing. That's an augmented reality thing. That has nothing to do with the graphics. That's just Rumble, which was a big thing in the 5th gen. So I don't know. I mean, I think that just gamers don't really. I think gamers. Oh, we have a comment from the lazy one. Hey, how's it going? What's the topic? We're just talking about how at Gamescom, NVIDIA had a big bevy of graphic card releases and how graphics aren't necessarily a bellwether for generations like they used to be. Like they should be focusing instead on better gameplay or better AI. Like how many games do we have to play that have you in a stealth section where you kill an enemy, right? Like stealthily, and the guards look for you for maybe 10 or 15 seconds and then they ignore the dead body and walk off and do their own thing. You know? Like that's just like
That's duh.
Yeah, if I mean, like, if you can give me a game that has, if like, okay, everyone keeps on saying this is the biggest gaming world ever. I don't need the biggest gaming world. I need a gaming world that's denser, not bigger. What I mean by this is, it would be cool if you had a open world RPG where maybe it didn't have 8 cities, maybe it had 3 cities, but those cities had dense populations. Like you had an uptown, you had a downtown, you had an undercity where like the people who were kind of the undesirables and the really, 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 really poor lived, maybe the homeless, that was like kind of like borderline in the sewers, but not quite. Maybe you had like an underground area that was kind of like where the total outcasts live. You know, and basically you had a decent population of a lot of people. Not everyone would be a major character, but at least like
There'd be variety, right?
At least 100 NPCs in a city. Maybe like crowd characters who maybe have basic shit to say, like, "Oh no, what's that over there? Leave me alone, get away from me." But I mean, I'm tired of playing games where like this is a city and there's like 20 people there. What city do you know has a population of 20? Seriously.
A village.
That's not a city.
Hey, you asked.
I'm just saying that it doesn't make any sense. But that's just my own personal opinion. Let's get back to the other news of Gamescom. So basically, the big thing from NVIDIA was just a lot of you know, their new RTX 2080 series of cards, which is just a fancy way of more shit to well, more expensive graphics cards from NVIDIA to sell people. Really expensive graphics cards that are just too goddamn expensive. And then from Gamescom 2018, we have Ace Combat 7 coming out in January 2019. I mean, it's from Namco Bandai. Like, Ace Combat's one of those franchises that's kind of good, but I don't know how good it is because it's Namco Bandai, and
their record shows themselves.
Namco Bandai is a 50-50 company because half the time they do things well, half the time they fuck up. You know, it's 50-50.
As I said, their record shows for themselves.
So Trinell83 has a comment or question or both. What graphical leap have we had in the 8th and 9th gens regarding PS4, Xbox One, and Switch compared to the previous? Serious question, not trolling or anything. Well, seriously, there hasn't been. I mean, I cannot legitimately say, graphically speaking, that there are any games on the Switch that could have possibly been on the Wii U. And it doesn't help that like some of the games that are on the Switch
are ported.
Are ports. I can't legitimately say this couldn't have been on the last gen system. And the same thing with the PS4. Like, there are very few games on the PS4 or the Xbox One where I'm like, this couldn't have been on the PS3 or the Xbox 360. So, I mean, the graphical leap is negligible, and they're still making the same lazy ass worlds they were making last gen. You know, so the games get prettier, but it's kind of like having a car. The next year's model of a car come out, and you look under the hood, and you realize it's the same shit under the hood. The car hasn't been made any faster, any more fuel efficient, any lighter, like no way more efficient. Okay, Bia3 says the most graphically beautiful game to me was Crysis 3 on PS3. Okay, if you want to go that far.
To each their own.
Yeah, everyone has their own like what's gorgeous is different for different people. For example, photorealism in video games isn't gorgeous to me. I like stylized things in video games. So things that are stylish look better to me than things that are like photorealistic. Because if I want to see something that's photorealistic, I live in the real world. I don't, you know.
You don't need to have it imagined in a game.
Exactly. But anyway, back to the Gamescom news. Anno 1800 is coming February 2019 from Anno is a it's kind of like it's kind of like the Settlers, like Sid Meier's The Settlers, except it's owned by Ubisoft, so you know it's gonna be fucked up because Ubisoft
Oh
Ubisoft
God.
IPs are always jacked. I've never seen a Ubisoft IP that's. And Battlefield 5 was shown off. It's Battlefield. That's all I got to say about that. So I sound like Forrest Gump. That's all I got to say about that.
Back from
At least depending on how you put it.
Well, I mean, it's Battlefield. Its pre-order sales have been, for lack of a better word, lagging. Yeah, like here's the thing. People are mad about the new Call of Duty Black Ops 4, but they'll still buy it. But Battlefield 5's pre-sales are 85% behind Black Ops 4, which there's a vocal crowd of people who are like, fuck this game. And yet
they buy it still.
They're still gonna buy it. But there are people who won't even buy Battlefield 5. They're like, nah, fuck that. Which, I mean, look, it's EA, and EA's been fucking up all year long. So, starting with Battlefront 2, especially DICE. DICE has just not had a good year at all. So,
the one time I feel sorry for EA, and it's about something that is out of their control.
Are you guys talking about the Battlefield controversy yet again?
I never feel sorry for EA. No, we're just talking about games that had news at Gamescom, because we're covering Gamescom on this podcast. No, I never feel sorry for EA, because EA, everything that happens with EA, they brought on themselves. Like Battlefront 2 was them being greedy and lazy, and basically trying to milk a franchise instead of doing it right. Battlefield 5 was them trying to appeal to, like, basically, like here's the thing. Well, no. Here's the thing. Because of what happened with Battlefront 2, with the loot box fiasco, they still had to had to include microtransactions. So how do you get around that? You make them cosmetic. So basically, right, like they basically are including cosmetic-based loot boxes, and they showed those off in the trailer. And so they had to add that to the game. But I mean, Battlefield is supposed to be a period appropriate.
Where it's about the realism of the game.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a period appropriate, realistic shooter. And I'm pretty sure in World War II, there wasn't a lady with a prosthetic hand and a hook hand shooting Nazis. I'm pretty sure
somebody with a katana.
I'm pretty sure in World War II there wasn't a British soldier fighting in Britain, or in the Battle of the Bulge, not Battle of the Bulge, D-Day, Normandy, with a fucking katana in his hand. Maybe a cavalry sword, maybe an army saber, but a katana? That's only appropriate if you're talking about the Pacific Theater and maybe a U.S. soldier storming one of those shitty islands that the Japanese held. Maybe Iwo Jima, I don't know, but not Normandy. It's like if you're one of those
Seriously?
if you're one of those war buffs who knows the history and shit, none of this shit is accurate. And basically, the man that they fired, who already kind of was his head, like he already was going to be the fall guy for the shit that happened with Battlefront 2. Patrick Sutherland. Like basically, like he basically says, if you don't, you're stupid if you don't understand why we're doing this. I mean, and to be
He put
fair,
his foot in his mouth when he said, "If it's not to your liking, don't buy it."
no, look, he pulled a Don Matrick because he's right. If you are a gaming fan and you can't understand why they look, EA's business model is built around loot boxes. They had to put loot boxes in this fucking game, and yet they couldn't make it critical shit, so they did cosmetics, and that's why it has to be in there. So if you're asking a question as a gamer, why are they putting loot boxes in their games? Because that's their fucking business model, and EA exists. It's a for-profit corporation. It has to make money. And if you don't want it, don't fucking buy it. People got mad at him, but he was look. That was the truth. He pulled a Don Matrick. It didn't work on him, just like Don Matrick. It didn't work for his ass, but he told the truth. Look, we have a product for people like that. It's called the Xbox 360. And Jeff Keighley gave him a look like, really? you gonna say that right now, man? They should have had Jeff Keighley pop up when Patrick Sutherland said that shit. You fucked up, you know that? Like Bill Dukes from Menace to Society. You fucked up. You know you done fucked up, right? So Patrick Sutherland, but don't feel sorry for Patrick Sutherland because he got like a $25 million
gold parachute. Oh God!
Look, if I had the $25 million, you know what I would do? I would fucking sell my business. I would sell my house, move to a nicer neighborhood with a better infrastructure and better amenities. I would take the rest of that money. I would take half of that money and put it into a general investment account and live off the dividends. And I'd take maybe $5 million and give to my parents, and then the other $5 million, I'd pay my taxes and call it a day. Okay, but Patrick Sutherland's he'll probably join up. He'll probably create another studio or go join Activision or Ubisoft, and he'll be fine. So don't feel sorry for his ass. Okay.
I was gonna say he'll be back.
Yeah, he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. And then Call of Cthulhu gameplay trailer unleashes. For those of you who don't know, Call of Cthulhu, it's
like a horror RPG.
Yeah, it's a horror RPG based off of the works of C.H. Howard. Not C.H. Howard.
Lovecraft.
Yeah. Lovecraft. Lovecraft. Although C.H. Howard and Lovecraft were roommates at a point, so sorry, I'm sorry, I'm confused. But yeah, by Lovecraft, and it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. I've played a little bit of Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu. It's some fucked up shit. Basically, imagine playing John Carpenter's The Thing, playing an RPG based on John Carpenter's The Thing, except every time you encounter a creature, you have to, like, even if you win the fight, you still lose because you have a sanity meter and you lose sanity points every time. And so basically,
that would mean that you're having a case of eternal darkness.
Yeah, basically, well, Eternal Darkness is based off of it. It is heavily influenced by Lovecraft type stuff. Like the old ones in Eternal Darkness, very, very heavily influenced by Dagon and Cthulhu and Shimmergrath and stuff like that. Sheograth. But yeah, it's I mean, I don't know. I mean, does anyone have any thoughts about the Call of Cthulhu RPG? Like, are they looking forward to it? Do they care?
I'm hopeful for it, though. If anything, I gotta see gameplay.
Is this a new version of Call of Cthulhu, or are you talking about the old PC game? The one that's in first-person view? Because I remember there was a PC game called Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, that was based off of Call of Cthulhu was based off of that RPG universe, except Call of Cthulhu was more of an action game. This game is more of a
tactics, or
no, it's more of like a first person RPG. Like you have classes and skill points, except it also includes this sanity thing. So if your character gets involved, like attacks too many like otherworldly creatures, their sanity goes down far enough, they lose their shit and it's game over. Or they start seeing weird shit. Because it's been a while since I played Call of Cthulhu, the tabletop game, but basically your sanity meter went from 5 to -5, and like the highest sanity level you could have was 5, like +5, and then like every time like you would face like maybe a fishman or the spawn of Dagon or something like that, you'd have to pass a sanity check, and if you failed, you'd take a tick off your sanity. And basically, like if you just went from +5 to 4 to 3, it wasn't that bad. But once you got down to like 2, 1, 0,
once you start hitting the negatives, it's gonna get ugly.
Well, once you were like 2, 1, 0, you'd start taking minor hits. But at zero and less than 0, you'd take major hits. Like you start hallucinating. You'd start bleeding for no reason. You'd turn on people. You'd see things that weren't really there, or maybe they were there. Call of Cthulhu is one of those RPGs where if you have a really good DM,
it's best to not get into some battles.
Well, like I said, it's
that game.
Well, it's basically kind of like John Carpenter's The Thing, except set in a Victorian age. So the science sucks. So and you don't have any like cosmic weapon. Like the most advanced weapon you might have is a Tommy gun, maybe a mortar, maybe a hand grenade, but like an old timey World War I hand grenade. So it sucks. So, you're just and you just got to do the best you can with what you got,
And sometimes that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, and the thing is a lot of the old ones, like certain weapon classes, don't even do damage to them because they're so friggin' powerful. It's like shit. But yeah, I've always been a fan of Call of Cthulhu.
So, have you guys already talked about any of the announcements from Gamescom?
Well, we began with NVIDIA and their uber expensive graphics cards they announced. And we talked about how basically, this isn't graphics card, graphical fidelity. We basically just said increased graphical fidelity is no longer an indicator of next gen or better gaming because it's not being used properly. So the lazy one says, I would use some of that money in the stock market and live in a better neighborhood. Okay, that's smart. Lovecraft, in my game, no thank you. I'm not a huge Lovecraft fan because some of his work is kind of fucking racist, but when it's used well, it can be really, really effective in horror gaming. But back to Gamescom news, we got to Call of Duty 4.
4.
Black Ops 4. Here's the thing. I wanted Call of Duty Black Ops to be good, but when they're like, yeah, we're making it be like fucking Fortnite and Overwatch, I can't get excited for it, because that was one of the hallmarks of Black Ops, was that it at least had a somewhat decent single player story mode, and obviously it always had that Call of Duty multiplayer, and they kind of alienated their fan base with that one. So I don't know how they're going to come back from that. I don't know if they will come back from that.
Likely they'll be crawling back.
Here's the thing. I want Call of Duty to be good just for those people who really like Call of Duty. I don't want them to lose a franchise that they love because of Activision's fucking greed. Even though I don't like Call of Duty. I'm not like, oh my God, Call of Duty, the best first-person shooter ever. I'm going to be honest with you. I tried to play Call of Duty multiplayer like once, like seriously, a long time ago, and from since then I haven't really played it, like bought a Call of Duty. I played the single player in some of them, but I was like, I'm not enthralled with Call of Duty. So, you know, I know there are people who love it. I don't personally love it, but whatever.
Some of it is good, and some of it, well, it bugs you.
No, not that. It's just Call of Duty isn't for me. It's like some people really like rhubarb pie. I don't. But if you love rhubarb pie, knock yourself out. I'm not gonna say shit about anybody who likes it. I just don't like it. That's how I feel about Call of Duty. If you like Call of Duty, God bless you. I don't like it, but if you enjoy it, knock yourself out. Any other questions anyone has? Trinell, Lazy One, put them in the chat section. J1TM, the reason you're on timeout is because you use racial slurs. We don't appreciate that. So racial slurs are not allowed in on this channel.
It's a big no-no.
Yeah, unless it's for comedic effect, but you, sir, are not funny, so.
Humor is a subjective thing at times.
You are not Chris Rock, okay? Chris Rock with his joke about he's like, you go to old black person's house, they got a picture of Jesus, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and then like these newer black folks got like Tupac and Biggie. He's like, them N-words got shot. He's like, Jesus was crucified, Malcolm X was assassinated, Martin Luther King was assassinated, but Tupac and Biggie, them N-words got shot. That's funny. That's a humorous joke. You calling people on this channel the N-word and there's no punchline, there's no setup. It's just offensive. So, time out.
And I'm the only one who is not black here.
Yeah, but I mean, N-word has taken on such a universal slang, disrespectful term these days. You can pretty much, it's just offensive. So there you go, sir. Time out. Look at it and ban your ass. Trinell83 has a question. On the PC front, with more technology, would you like to see an advance in the PC exclusive games like real-time strategy? Who wants to answer that question?
What was the question? I was trying to be sure I heard it right.
On the PC front, with more technology, what would you like to see advance in the PC exclusive games, like real-time strategy?
Better
like
AI, at least a more complex system of NPC tampering, or even maybe a smoother gameplay style. At least that's what I'm thinking.
I want better AI. I want better AI and more denser worlds. Like, I would love to see. Wouldn't it be cool if you played an RPG? And they kind of did this on the PS2 with I forgot the name of the game, but it was this game where basically you could, like, almost every character you met you could recruit. But I would like to see something that takes that further. Like, literally, like, you
to
go
the next level.
No, anywhere you go in an RPG, you meet, like, let's say you're fighting a slime in the field. You can recruit that slime. And that slime has their own story and personality and side quests. That would be a testament of advancement in AI. Like, I would love to see that. I would rather see that than just better graphics. Because, I mean, at this point, all the graphics are pretty good, more or less.
Yeah.
For most AA and AAA games.
I'm more concerned with better new and innovative gameplay mechanics that they weren't able to utilize in the previous.
No, Trinell, the game was not Suikoden. It was a Atlas game, if I remember correctly, and it was an RPG where you're like this knight, and like you're this knight fighting against monsters, but then you find out that the monsters aren't necessarily the bad guys, and the humans that you're fighting for aren't necessarily the good guys. So you had to make this major choice where you would basically shut yourself off from the human side of the storyline to join with the monsters, and you could recruit them. It was actually the game wasn't that good, but it just had a really interesting premise where you could recruit anybody practically. but yeah, I'm just saying that, like, I mean, like I said, with Jewel and Pinky, like games graphically, the graphics of games are pretty good right now. We need better AI. We need better gameplay mechanics. I would love to play, like I said, I would love to play an open world RPG where you could you go into a city and it has a lot of density to it. So there's an uptown, there's a downtown, there's a wharf, there's a bay, there's an airship strip. There's a rich section, there's a poor section, there's an undercity. Like,
there's so many places to look into.
Yeah, that are populated, and I don't mean just like generic crowds. I mean actual characters you can interact with and do shit for, side quests and stuff. I would like to see a game with better dynamic side quests. It's not Yggdra Union. It's not Yggdra Union. It's an Atlas game. It's not Yggdra Union. Trinell. It'll come to me. But anyway, yeah. Basically, we need better AI. We don't need better graphics in games. But let's see, what else? We did Call of Cthulhu. Oh, here's some news that's exciting to me and probably no one else. The entirety of Cyberpunk 2077 is already playable from start to finish. So it might come out next year.
That's a good thing, and yet I'm worried of how it's going to be judged.
Well, it's CD Projekt Red, and they haven't really fucked up yet, so I give them, they've earned a little bit. They've earned the right to have a little bit of how can I put this? They've earned goodwill. Yeah, they've earned leeway, right? So I mean, it's the reason why I gave Nintendo a lot of leeway for a lot of shit, because they earned it. I'll give CD Projekt Red a lot of leeway because they've earned it, more so than a lot of other developers. So I give credit. I mean, listen, if you earn leeway, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If you're constantly, like, it's kind of like if you're a student, right? If you are a straight A student, teachers will give you leeway on shit. If you're the fuck up, like getting D's and F's, they'll be in your ass. And I know people say, well, you're supposed to treat all people equally. It's not true. It's not true. People have natural biases. For the person who causes them less trouble, they give more of a pass to than someone that's always fucking up. It's the reason why EA can't really win. It's because, like, they're always fucking up. Because they can't help it. They have to fuck up. That's what they do. Let's see what else. Your guys' thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077?
Well, Jewel. Well, a question to Jewel. Are you saying that because you're concerned about the bugs and glitches? It might have been left unironed once it releases next year. Like, we might get another Fallout 4, another Bethesda situation where.
Yeah, but this is CD Projekt Red, and they haven't had those types of issues with their games.
They managed to keep themselves clean.
Yeah, like that's not. I mean, I don't want to speak for Joel. I'll let Joel answer that question. Personally,
I like knowing that a game is clearly on the finish line, in a sense that it's mostly that's base gameplay is laid out start to finish. Hopefully, it'll be stuffed better than turkeys. But seriously, that is actually a good thing, since it means that they could develop things.
I mean, polish the shit out of it.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll not get something like what they are doing with Soul Calibur 6. Or is it 7?
6. Although Soul Calibur 6, I don't think they're comparable issues, because that's just Namco Bandai being Namco Bandai. Or have people forgotten those ridiculous pricing on those Smash Brothers characters in Smash 4?
Yeah, because they're charging you season pass for certain characters that were established.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's Namco Bandai, and that's what they do. Like, I was so excited for this game until I found out about this shit. So now, if I get the game, I'm probably gonna get it
discounted.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till it's on. I mean, the thing is, it's also gonna be on Steam, so it'll probably be on Steam sale at some point. So that's when I'll get it. I'm not gonna get it when it comes out.
Speaking of Smash, there's a rumor from Best Buy Canada saying that the Smash amiibos will have the ability to unlock those characters automatically once you use them, making it another option to unlock those characters.
I'd rather unlock those characters the old-fashioned way through gameplay, because I'm hardcore like that, son.
Can't blame me on that part.
Like, I liked unlocking characters in Smash Brothers. I always thought that was kind of cool. Like unlocking characters through amiibo feels
as long as it's not too outrageous, then I'll go for it.
No, because I mean, it was never really. It's like, we'll play for 500 hours to get Mewtwo. You just left your thing on for a long time. Like, you turn it on in the morning, you go to school, come back, the shit would be, you keep on chipping away until you got it. I mean, it wasn't that hard. I'm skipping one of these because it has nothing to do with gaming. It's about a movie, and I don't think anyone gives a shit about movies when they're talking about stuff like that.
Now, continuing on with the Gamescom, Miyamoto was also present over there, and there have been two different interviews from him. One involving how he's not interested in making an MMORPG.
We were going to cover that at the end. Miyamoto's at the end. We're just going through the general news right now. We'll get to Miyamoto at the end. We'll go to Miyamoto at the end. Don't worry.
That means I'm too early then. What's next?
Jumped in too early. We're doing Desperados 3 Resurrects Gunslinging Real-Time Tactics. These are the people who made, like, Shadow Tactics. So
I think the correct pronunciation is Despacito 3.
No, it's Desperados. Desperados 3.
I keep mixing them up with Despacito.
Yeah, that's a completely different word. And then they showed Devil May Cry 5 gameplay. It's launching on PC and console in March. And before anyone asks, this shit's not coming to the Switch, so don't even ask.
Sadly.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like people, like all this year and all last year, is there going to be a Switch? Man, why you screw your mouth up to say some shit like that? That's like you see your best friend with his girlfriend, and you guys go to the prom, and you're not getting action with your girlfriend in the front seat, but he and his girlfriend are really going to town, and you look back and say, when am I going to get some? You're not. Why even ask? She's with him. You don't factor into the equation. That's how it is to be a Switch game owner, a Switch system owner when it comes to these games. You are not part of the equation. Don't even ask for the shit to come to your system. Now, if they break you off a little something, you can choose to accept or not, but don't beg. There's nothing more pathetic than someone begging. At least to me.
Could have been worse.
Devil May Cry 5. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm one of those people who actually like DMC. I wish they had refined that game instead of just doing another Devil May Cry 5, but whatever. So basically, this is something from the former studio, from Eidos Interactive. Not Eidos Interactive, the studio that made Hitman. The entirety of Hitman Season 1 will be playable in Hitman 2, so I guess that's cool. Any thoughts on that? Hitman? No Hitman fans?
I've got to see it, but I'll hold my comment until then.
Well, I liked No, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
Same here.
Well, I liked Hitman back in the day because it was a nice stealth game. And occasionally, listen, I'm not the biggest stealth game person, but occasionally you want to play a game where you can't just go around shooting people in the face. You actually have to think about what you're doing and be more methodical on how you play the game.
Be
I had
careful of your
Hitman.
surrounding and try not to draw too much attention as you're killing your target with a dinosaur bone.
Well, I had the Hitman collection in for the PS2, like all 3 games at the time. No, 4 games at the time for like $50, and I enjoyed playing the game. I mean, the first game's kind of rough because it's obviously the first game, and it's kind of hard to get into it. But the second, like after the first game, the second, third, fourth game, pretty damn good. And I always liked Agent 46, so. Even though like they keep on trying to make a movie with Agent 46 as the hero, I'm like, he's a hitman, he's the villain.
He's an anti-hero, if anything.
He's not even anti-hero. He kills people for money.
Okay, now you could say he's a villain.
I mean, it's like how people always like, Samus is a hero. She commits genocide for money.
I was gonna say
money.
She's a bounty hunter. If anything, she's one of the most dangerous women on the universe.
But weren't she hired by the Galactic Federation, meaning that they are the ones responsible, not Samus?
Yeah, but I mean, like, here's the thing: if you're paid to commit genocide, like we aren't talking about her just going after 1 or 2 people. In almost every game she's in,
she sets off something to blow up a beeping planet.
Or she's annihilating an entire species. That's genocide, right? That's playing God, right? And I mean, that's kind of fucked up. I'm sorry. Like, here's the thing, okay? If you're going after one person who's doing some fucked up shit, knock yourself out. It's kind of like, I mean, let me put a real world example on your thing, okay? SEAL Team 6 went after Osama bin Laden, okay? They executed him instead of bringing him to trial for his crimes. That was kind of fucked up. I would have preferred him being, tried, executed, given a trial and executed rather than just, executed. But here's the genocide thing, okay? That was basically kind of like bounty hunting. Genocide is if they'd gone in and killed everyone in Pakistan, which is what Samus essentially does in her games. She kills everything, not just, okay, I have to take out this one person. Everybody must die, and that's genocide, and that's kind of villainous. Like, actually, not kind of. Genocide is villainous. Trying to eradicate an entire species is pretty fucking fucked up.
And and before anybody starts up, we here at the BS Busters are not supporting anything such as that, and we're not going to go into Undertale memes with such tropes.
I can't speak for the other members of BS Busters, but I do not support genocide. Even though I love the Metroid Prime games, but like all 3 games, she does some form of genocide. Well, not the first one, but the second one, she definitely genocide. She wipes out an entire species. Yeah, some of them are evil, but not all of them. Just by virtue of statistics, not every Ing was evil.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure
whoever sent her to do those jobs, they got some dark souls.
No, because here's the thing, the defense that I was just following orders doesn't hold water because, at least, because a lot of people have done fucked up shit. And when they tried that defense, I was just following orders. Their ass went to jail because they held just as much culpability as the people who gave them the orders. So yeah, Samus, I mean, I know people like, she's a hero. I'm like,
I consider her a mix.
She does some fucked up shit. That's all I'll say about Samus. But then again, Samus is a fucked up individual. If you really know her history, she's not like stable. She's, as a matter of fact, she's batshit insane.
But don't Mario and Link also cause genocide as well?
Mario, not so much. Link, not really. But Samus definitely. Rico goes storm chasing an insane new Just Cause 4. Yeah, Just Cause 4 is coming out. I don't know who's excited about that game. Is anyone here excited about another Just Cause game?
You mean Just Cause 4?
Yeah, because there was Just Cause 1, 2, 3, 4. I played the first 2 games and beat them, and I was like, I don't really like this franchise that much. And then my friend's like, well, you got to play the third one. It's insane. And I got it on PC for like $15, and I was like, this game's okay, but I'm not like
it's not epic.
Like, here's the thing: having an open world game is cool when you have shit to do in it. Just Cause is this open world game, but you like all of the fun you have to do yourself. Like, I would rather like Just Cause.
I was gonna say it reminds me of the GTAs.
No, because I mean, GTA 4 definitely. GTA 5 to an extent, yeah. But like you know how like in GTA San Andreas, you could do a mission, or you could just get in your car and listen to the radio and listen to the talk shows on the radio, or go run a taxi so that you get like
do whatever you want, basically.
Do all types of shit in it. Like, Just Cause doesn't have that. Like, basically, if you want to have fun, like watching someone play Just Cause 3 is more fun than playing Just Cause 3. Is what I'm saying.
Oh.
like I watched this thing called Djibouti Dubs, and they used to have this segment where they would play video games. I think they still do. And one day they were playing Just Cause 3, and they were making weird voices and like had like character stuff, and I was like, this shit's funny as hell. But when I play Just Cause 3, I'm like, this game is not nearly as fun playing it, but watching someone play it while they make weird voices is hilarious. So
it's a riot, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, Just Cause is one of those games where I'm just like, I don't really care about these characters. Like Rico Ramirez is interesting, but I'm not enthralled with the character. So.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That there's some things that you like and some things that you don't.
Yeah, basically. So, someone's making another Life is Strange game. I don't remember who made the first one. So
I thought but I know I've heard about a Life is Strange prequel, but has it already come out?
There may be a
Not that I don't know.
See, here's the thing. I don't know because I didn't play the first Life is Strange. Like games that are like, well, we're gonna try and tell a story, and it's like, look, man, that's too much. You're trying to do too much shit. I don't care about this deep story. I just want to play a fun game. They showed some Rage 2 gameplay footage, which I guess is cool. I hope it's a longer game than the first Rage, because that game was like 10 hours.
I was gonna say, at least it wasn't 1886.
No, it wasn't the Order. It wasn't the Order, but it was double the Order's gameplay time, but that still was only 10 hours. And the sad thing is that like the way Rage felt was like id Software had these really grand ideas, but then they ran out of money and they had to finish the game.
Ow.
Yeah. Because basically it's like, okay, you have this massive open world with nothing to do.
Creak, 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 creak.
Yeah, and you're scrounging up materials to build shit, but it's like you could also just buy it. It was one of the, like I said, it was one of those games where it's like, man, they ran out of money, and they had to wrap shit up. That's basically what it is. Yeah. So RE2 is a remake is being made. I guess that's cool. Who's excited about RE2 remake being made?
Resident Evil?
Yeah, RE2. Resident Evil 2.
Oh boy.
I mean, it's Capcom. They're just gonna remake everything and make very few new games. So all you're gonna get are remakes and sequels for the next 10 years. No new games.
I'm trying not to face palm. Because I was knowing that sounded familiar, and then when you said it,
yeah. Well, people are mad because they redid Life is Strange feels like a book turned to a movie, and they made a game about it. I mean, Like, here's the thing. If like you can make adventure games in a modern age, because we saw that happen with Double Fine. Like, most of Double Fine's games are basically modern adventure games. Like, Psychonauts is a modern adventure game. Stacking is a modern adventure game. Like, you can do a modern adventure game, but it's like you still have to have a good hook and good writing and a good, premise.
You need narrative work.
I don't need, like, look, if I want to watch an intriguing movie, I'll just watch a fucking intriguing movie. I don't,
You don't need a movie that is
that
a game.
I play. Yeah, I don't need that. Ubisoft yet again is releasing a new Settlers game for the first time in 8 years. My question is, does anyone care? Seriously, does anyone care about a new Settlers game?
Nope. Because I've heard little to no nothing about it.
It's a strategy game where you play settlers who come to a new land to steal it from the indigenous people and claim it as their own. So, typical Europeans going around taking shit that's not theirs, stealing entire countries. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, I'm being facetious.
I'm trying to not laugh because I know that you got some humor on you.
Here's a big one. They finally showed a Shenmue 3 trailer.
After all those years.
And here's the
How long
thing.
did it take?
It's supposed to come out August 27th, 2019. So a year from now, basically. Yeah, literally a year from now.
Sorry, that was actually funny. It's actually coming out in a year.
Well, no, I'll tell you what would have been funny. If that guy came out again and said, hey, guys, the game's coming out, but I need you to do me a favor. What? I need some more money for Kickstarter. Like he did at that E3 3 years ago. That's too far. There's a game coming out called Storm Divers. It's a class-based third-person shooter battle royale. So another fucking battle royale game.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
I hate to say this, but I'm so tired of battle royales.
They're like weeds. They're growing everywhere now.
Even Nintendo got into the battle royale genre with Splatoon, because at its core, Splatoon is technically a battle royale.
Isn't all FPS multiplayer games a battle royale game?
I was going to say that Splatoon is not as much a battle royale as a team battle, but
yeah, but that's basically the same
battle
thing.
royale is where you're having a lot more than just 8 players, as far as I know.
Well, I mean, like if you're talking PUBG or Fortnite, yeah, there's more than 8 players, but like in smaller things, there's smaller matches in Fortnite that are 4 against 4. So I'm just saying, I'm tired of team-based multiplayer games, and I'm tired of everyone jumping on the battle royale bandwagon. There's some alliteration for your ass. Yeah, the battle royale, or should I say assonance? The battle royale bandwagon is just getting on my nerves. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. But for those of you who like that shit, it's coming. The Surge 2. For those of you who don't know, The Surge was basically like a Dark Souls-esque game, except it was set in a dystopian future where humans have fused themselves with machines, and a guy who basically was a paraplegic or quadriplegic has basically fused himself with a exo frame so that he can walk. And now he's got to make his way to this one spot so he can save himself while facing crazed machines. People have been taken over by their own exoframes. It's actually pretty good. I mean, it kind of has cheap deaths because it's like you go into a blind corner and some dude jumps out of boxes and attacks you. But the premise behind it and the world they built was pretty good. I have it for PC, so yeah, the Surge. I mean, I don't know how much I'm looking forward to the new game, but
There's
the old
some
one's
hope.
good. Yeah, yeah. And let's see. We have 2 more things to go before we're done. THQ Nordic showed off a lot of games that they want to release. So I guess we should talk about them.
Which ones do they offer?
Biomutant. I'm actually looking forward to that game. It's a game made by the people that made Just Cause 3. It's an action adventure game where you play as this mutated animal in a post-human apocalyptic world. Humans are gone, so like the animals have become anthropomorphic and have taken over and mutated. It's actually pretty cool from what I've seen of the demos. Darksiders 3, for those of you, Darksiders is basically like a 3D version of Castlevania that works. Basically, it's 3D Castlevania that actually works.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, because I think I have a video on my channel where I show gameplay of me playing Darksiders, then I overlay it with Castlevania music, and the shit actually fits. And with the gothic art style, I mean, it's basically 3D Castlevania. Fade to Silence, never heard of it. Generation Zero, never heard of it. The Townsman VR, it's a VR game, so I definitely didn't hear about it.
They're also releasing a pseudo sequel to Nicktoons Racing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I might get that just because I like Nicktoon characters, and if it's cheap, like a budget game, I'll probably get it. There's also 2 unannounced games that that's up here that they were like that were hidden, but I think I know what they are. One of them is Saints Row the Third for Switch,
which I'm surprised about.
And
is it better than the first 2 as well as the 4th game?
I mean, it's subjective. Like personally, I like Saints Row 2. Like I think Saints Row 2 is basically the only Saints Row game that one-upped GTA, because it came out around the same time as GTA 4, but it's like in terms of gameplay and substance and shit you can do in it, it's better than GTA 4 in almost every aspect. Plus the music's really good. Saints Row the Third is kind of like off the chain. It's just a lot of weird shit going on. It's fun, but I mean, like I have this game 3 times over. I have it on PS3. I bought it twice. Well, I take that back. I have it on PS3. I got it on on Steam, and then I got the complete collection that has all the extra content for like
for a cheaper price than what was when it first released.
For 74 cents on sale. So I have this game 3 times. I've played the shit out of it. I've beaten it multiple times. I've 100%ed it multiple times. I like Saints Row. It's one of my favorite franchises. I'm not gonna get it on the Switch because, like I said, I have it 3 times over. I have it on PC, and why would I get it on Switch when on PC it's so much better? Like you can download other people's custom creation characters. There's a modding scene. When it first came out, there was like this awesome website where you could upload, you could create a character and upload it on this website and then share it around. So you had people going around as Bruce Banner, or the Hulk, or Leonardo DiCaprio, or Will Smith, like
a lot of characters.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice thing. And I mean, it's the Switch, so it's probably not going to have any of that shit. So I mean, yeah, they're like, it has all the DLC. Doesn't fucking matter. What's the point? But some people might care.
It depends on if you want to keep it pure or want to go a little further.
Yeah, it depends on what you like. The other THQ Nordic game that they talked about, I don't remember because, you know, don't remember what it was. But you know, a lot of people looking forward to it. Don't know why. Don't know why. Don't know why. they give a shit. But some people do. I don't know why. So the last little bit of news is that Tropico 6 is launching in January for PC. So there you go, folks. If you have a PC, you get an excellent strategy game in January. So I guess that's cool. So now we can get to the Miyamoto thing. So go.
Right. So apparently Shigeru Miyamoto is not interested in making an MMORPG because they are boring.
Well,
that depends on the game, but
I think he said he would find it boring, not that they are boring. And I mean, look, what's he like? 64?
Close to 60, close to the 70s, but 65 at least.
Because he was born in 53. So he's 2 years older than my mother. So he's 64. 64, 65. So, I mean, he's...
Yeah, I don't 5 at least.
Yeah, I don't think he would want to put a lot of time into developing an MMO. Like, you know, I don't think he would want his magnum opus to be an MMO. Maybe, but I'm just being, you know, that's my own personal opinion.
And another Miyamoto article where he says, where he talks about subscription style services and how he remarks that, and how he warns the game industry, don't be too greedy with the system. Probably in response to why the Switch's online service is much cheaper than the other online services.
Well, I was gonna say pot calling kettle black, but their online service is a lot cheaper. So what I'm gonna say is this. It's going to boil down to quality, and he is right. Like, people are being greedy. They're nickel and diming their customers. They're charging them for shit that they already kind of pay for, just for online infrastructure. It's kind of bad. I think Nintendo's doing it at the least amount, but they're doing it too. So just be cautious. Be cautious on everybody. And, you know, I mean, you don't, like, here's the thing. Since most of the games that are being released are also hitting PC, if you have a PC, a decent PC, you don't have to buy the shit on Nintendo platforms or Sony platforms or Microsoft platforms if you don't want to. You can say, fuck you, I'm not paying your fucking shitty online, and get it on PC. And then you just pay what you already pay for your online that you use any goddamn way and circumvent the whole damn thing, if you choose.
Yeah.
But the choice is yours.
Oh, I was about to say, you're going
this is also more on the loot boxes and microtransactions as well.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to buy the shit. Like, you know.
I almost thought you were going old Mac on me, Red.
No, the thing is like, look, okay. The video game industry, like, you have all these companies who are trying to make money. Unlike Nintendo, which, even though they're doing some kind of scummy shit lately, by and large, Nintendo's like, okay, we're going to release a product. The product may be shit, but we're not going to try it. Like, it's your choice to buy the product. We're not going to force you to buy it. Like, they're not holding a gun to your head or like, you can't play this game if you don't buy this cardboard box set, or you can't use these features if you don't buy this. They're like, look, either you take it or you don't. If you don't, that's cool. If you do, that's cool too.
It's all on you.
At least they aren't gating stuff that's already done behind a paywall like Namco Bandai. Which, I mean, I don't know why people are surprised. It's Namco Bandai. They've been fucking up for years now.
I was gonna say, I mostly facepalm every time I hear them do that.
It's Namco Bandai. I mean, what are people surprised about? You know,
I'm not surprised. I'm just facepalming that they haven't learned a thing.
Well, I mean, I've said this before. Namco Bandai is a 50-50 company. Like, half the time they got their shit together, and half the time they're fucking up. So that's how they roll.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 type of thing. Okay, like Namco Bandai is helping out. I think they're helping develop Smash Brothers for the Switch. They're also putting a Tales game on the Switch. And that's like 50% of them. Yeah, good job. But then they do this shit where they're like, if they're helping develop Smash Ultimate on the Switch, then they're probably if the game has DLC, it's gonna have those ridiculous fucking Namco Bandai price schemes on it. If the Tales game has DLC, it's gonna have that fucking ridiculous pricing on it. Because Namco Bandai has some of the shittiest DLC pricing I've ever seen, and they don't do ultimate editions of their games where it's like, well,
They
I'm not
don't
gonna
do
get
a
it now.
Capcom.
Yeah, Capcom at least, like after the shit comes out, they'll do like an arcade edition or an ultimate edition that has all the stuff, so you don't have to pay for all that shitty DLC. Not Namco Bandai. No. Namco Bandai's like, no, we're gonna charge your ass for every little thing. And I mean, it's a shitty business model, which is one of the reasons why I haven't bought any of their games for years now. Like for fucking years, I haven't bought any of their games.
It's that I can understand and applaud you.
So, yeah, I mean, look, and the thing is, I like Namco Bandai, but fuck them.
Oh yeah, are you guys still talking about the whole Dark Souls trilogy controversy that they're doing?
I mean, I wasn't going to bring
trying
that
not
up.
to face palm.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but that's another sign of Namco Bandai being just assholes. I'm like,
seriously?
Like here's my thing. Okay, here's what I think happened. Okay, this is just look. Before anyone says it, this is my supposition. I think they signed a contract to put Dark Souls, the first one, remastered on the Switch. Okay, I think they signed that contract like before the Switch came out. I think they paid a studio to make that game and to port it over and put it on the system. I think they figured, hey, we want to make money off of this shit that we own the rights to, so we're going to take all three games, put them together, and they're charging a ridiculous amount for all three of those games. It's like $70 or $80 instead of $60, which is.
I was going to say it'd be $80 for all three, and if I get it right, that would be close to. If I think about it,
actually, all three plus all the DLC contain inside it, and they're all 3 discs, so it's not on one disc.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's like it's an $80 game. Like normally when they do a ultimate compilation of a game series, it's like $60, $50 to $60. Like the Metroid Prime trilogy was like $50 when it came out initially.
Yeah, and if anything, I was going to say that the entire collection with all their DLCs combined, in a sense, for each game, that's about $26 per game.
Yeah, that's still kind of scummy because those games sold well. They made their money, and now they're remastering them. It should just be $60 because then people know they're getting value. It's like, okay, I get the games plus I get all the DLC because those games, because you can go and get Dark Souls, the first game, the second game, the third game. You can get those games from GameStop or online, used or brand new for like $10 or $15. And I know that's not with the DLC, but come on, it's Namco Bandai with their shitty price DLC. That DLC is not worth that much. So it's Namco Bandai with their shitty stuff. That's what they do. But it's Namco Bandai.
And to make matters worse, it's not going to be available for Europe. So it's America and Japan only.
Well, that's probably where the game sold the most. So, I mean,
even though the entire game series is European base,
not really. Like you can't say it's European based. It has a very gothic art style, but I mean, Japan has there's some parts of Japan that have a gothic art style. So I mean, that's not Europe. Like Europe doesn't hold a copyright on gothic art style.
But where did the gothic art style originate from? Europe.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, like, look at the characteristics of gothic art style. It's dark, it's moody, But if you go to Japan, you can find art styles that are similar to that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like there's no, like there are games in Japan that have a dark gothic art style that are Japanese, like Musia, a halberdsman's tale, or you know, the myriad of Japanese horror stories like Bakuman. Like, so there's like, I mean, like gothic horror is not like
exclusive.
So you can't say like, well, it's not coming to Europe. Like, it probably didn't sell well in Europe, or Namco Bandai is like, we can't find a partner to publish it there. I don't know, but you know, it's like, you know, because if that was the case, Castlevania would do gangbusters in Europe, but it doesn't. Castlevania's biggest market is America and Japan. So,
which tells a lot.
And Castlevania is about Dracula, Vlad Tepes, and that's Europe up your ass. But I mean, that's not the biggest market for that IP. So that's kind of a false
equivalence.
You know, well, that's a leap in what you just did was deductive logic, but you should have been using inductive logic. But that's okay. You'll get it. We'll figure it out.
It'll come.
Yeah, we'll get there. But anyway, there's some other stuff. Guacamelee 2 came out this week. For those of you who don't know, that was supposed to be exclusive to the Switch, but Namco Bandai became an asshole. Or not Namco Bandai. Drinkbox Studio became assholes. I guess they had a talk with old man Sony. So it came out on their shit first.
Greedy as beep.
Well, I mean, it did come out on their system first. I mean, personally, I bought Guacamelee twice on PS3. I bought the original version and then the Championship Edition, and then I bought it on Wii U, and then I bought it on PC twice. So I bought that game like 5 times. I actually like Guacamelee, so it's a Metroidvania game, except it's.
I said 5 because that's a little surprising to hear.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first time I got it, I paid like $20 for it. Second time I got it, it was on sale, and I paid like $8 for the Super Championship Edition. And then on the Wii U, I bought it once, but it was Super Championship Edition. And then I got it twice on PC. It's basically a Metroidvania game, except it's heavily inspired by the Mexican Dias de los Muertos.
Or if you're wondering what that is in English, Day of the Dead.
Yeah, Day of the Dead. And heavily inspired by luchadors, which is really big in Mexico. Like everyone thinks American wrestling is off the chain. No, man, you got to watch Mexican wrestling with luchadors. That shit is awesome.
If anything, they're more realistic than the wrestlers that we have down here.
Think back in the day. Think back in the day when you had WWF and they had Rey Mysterio Jr., but like better. And like not little dudes who were that agile in the ring, but like big dudes who were like doing insane technical, high flying arm holds and bar. I mean, oh god.
Some of that is WTF.
Lucha Libre just shits on. Like, I mean, that's why everyone's always like, man, Ed McMahon, not
the WWE.
I forgot the guy who Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon. Oh man, fuck Vince McMahon. Okay, there's so much better wrestling outside of America. Look at Japanese wrestling, Mexican wrestling, Canadian wrestling, European wrestling, South American wrestling. So much better than the shit we have here in America. We're because there's no competition. Like all you've got is WWE, TNA, and backyard wrestling.
I was about to say TNA. I thought that was shot.
Well, it was about to go bankrupt and someone bought it out. So, but they're still running. But basically, you got backyard wrestling, which is you're watching amateur people just do backyard stunning, calling it wrestling, and TNA, which is like the trashier WWE, and WWE, which sucks. And yes, I said WWE sucks, okay? Wrestling has sucked since The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin left, really. It has not been fun since. Because we don't have anyone going, can I get a hell yeah? And that's the bottom line. Can I get a hell yeah? I'm sorry. I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, but there are certain eras that I just love. Like I loved the early 80s with like when you still had regional wrestling and WWE hadn't taken over everything, and you had like Ric Flair before he became shitty. You had my main man Macho Man Randy Savage. Of course, my personal favorite Andre the motherfucking Giant. The Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik is just cussing people out. I put you in the camel clutch and break your fucking back. I'm like, did this dude just fucking curse on national TV? Yes, he did.
The censors must have had a riot with him.
Well, he had such a thick accent when he'd say it. It was just, it's like you didn't understand. But you look at it, you're like, did he just call this dude? Did he just threaten to sodomize this person? Yes, he did.
And the people loved it.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say it right now. Like everyone thinks that Triple H is a great heel. No, he's not. Roddy Piper was a great heel. The Iron Sheik was a great heel. Abdullah the Butcher was a great heel. Andre the Giant was a great heel. Andre the Giant was such a great heel that even when he was kicking your baby face's asses, people liked seeing him do it. He was like, he'd have a squash match and beat the shit out of a baby face, and people would love that shit. they liked him so much. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just saying American wrestling has sucked since WWE took over everything.
And people wonder why monopolies are evil.
Yeah. Well, right now it's not so much a monopoly, it's an oligopoly. But I mean, if you only have control of if 75% of the market is in the hands of like 2 or 3 entities, that's not good. It's kind of like how I know in Florida you guys have your regional soda, RC, right?
Mm-hmm.
RC Cola. Yeah. When I was in Florida, RC Cola had those flavors that you never fucking heard of from Coke or Sprite. It's like, hey man, you want passion cola? What? You want pina colada? You want champagne cola?
I would want some of that pina colada soda, that's for sure.
You want kiwi soda? Sure, I'll try some shit. Like, what the fuck is this shit? I like it though. It's good, but I never heard of it before. Blue Fury flavored. What the hell is Blue Fury flavored cola? I don't know, but it's blue and it turns your tongue blue. Let's see. We got some more information from Square Enix. They're trying to court the Western market again with a game called The Quiet Man. It looks like a beat 'em up, kinda, sorta. Like I wish Square Enix would stop trying to court the West. They're trying so hard to court the West. Like we need a Western IP that'll break in. It's like just make RPGs, good RPGs, please.
Haven't they learned?
No.
Son of a beep.
No, they haven't learned. They have not learned.
Yeah. I'm trying not to swear about how they keep on doing this. Over, ding, and over, ding, and over, ding, again.
Yeah, it's like they won't learn their lesson that, the reason people like you, Square Enix, is because you made Japanese-style games. That's what they liked about you. It's like if Nintendo said, hey, the next Mario game, Mario's going to run around with a shotgun shooting people in the face. And he's not going to jump. He's going to, in order to dodge attacks, he's just going to, you press the jump button. Instead of jump, he's going to roll. Like, it's going to be a dodge roll. Like, instead of like a firefly was a power up and a cape feather and a tail feather, I'm sorry, and a tanuki tail and a tanuki suit. To hell with that. He's gonna have a shotgun, a handgun, and bombs. But they're not gonna be like bombs. They're gonna be like normal conventional grenade. Like people would be like, that doesn't feel like a Mario game. That's not a Mario game. So, and that's not what Nintendo makes. Why in the hell do you guys keep on trying to make Western games instead of making Japanese games? Because that's why people like you. Because you make Japanese games. I don't go to a Japanese restaurant to eat fucking
American food,
American barbecue, like Southern style barbecue. I go to a Japanese restaurant to eat Japanese food. I'm talking like udon with a miso bonito broth, right? Like and sushi and shit and stuff like that. Like that's why I go to a Japanese restaurant for. Like no one goes to a fish restaurant for the steak. Fuck. Square Enix. Fucking up. So for those of you who were watching, you guys can leave some questions in the comment section. We'll answer those. Anything you want to bring up, Jewel?
No, because if anything, what already gotten me this morning is basically faded off.
What, that crazy guy who just shot up the place because he was an asshole?
I only heard about it at about 3 p.m. today, so that wasn't it.
I found out about it earlier, but I was like, I didn't know what to think. It's one of those things where it's like I don't really know how I should feel about this. But
sorry guys, I got blue screened.
No, it's okay, man. We understand you have hardware issues sometimes. I mean, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say about Square Enix continuously trying to push into the Western market by making Western games. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, basically, Square Enix trying to push into the market by making Western games. It's like a fat guy trying to win a bodybuilding contest, right? But hasn't done any of the work to build their body to be in a bodybuilding contest. So you just have a fat guy in a thong stretching. It's like you need to be in the eating contest, man. You don't need to be here trying to do bodybuilding unless this is the meatball bodybuilding contest. Then you're perfect, but this isn't. It's like conventional bodybuilding. So yeah. So Weister20 says Marina got fed up after the Splatfest. Yeah, I thought the Splatfest was some bullshit. I thought spooning will always be better than forking, but
I call bull because forks have more use than spoons.
No, okay, as utensils, but I'm saying as terms, as sexual terms. Forking sounds painful. Spooning sounds inviting and fun. Plus, there's a lot of things you can do.
I'm trying not to laugh here.
Nice. You don't mess up your bed as much. But that's just me. You know, because I'm kind of a pervert. But anyway, yeah. I mean, look, I just wish Square Enix would just go back to making good JRPGs. That's all we want. We just want good JRPGs. Okay? That's
not action RPGs.
Not action. Look, for those of you who really want your Kingdom Hearts, God bless you. You can have Kingdom Hearts. I personally wouldn't wipe my ass with that game if I was desperate and out of toilet paper. I would just have to have a shitty day. But I mean, for those of you who like Kingdom Hearts, knock yourselves out. I've tried. I really did. I played the first game. I played the second game. I played the 0.5 games. I fucking hate that franchise. But for those of you who love it,
1 and 2, so you had more unfortunate luck
I played the Game Boy Advance game that was like had the card-based battles going on. I tried my damnedest to like Kingdom Hearts. It doesn't do anything for me. But for those of you who love it, God bless you. Me personally, like I said, if I was desperate, like if I was in a public toilet and I was out of toilet paper, and then someone said, "Hey, here's Kingdom Hearts. Here's all 3 Kingdom Hearts games. You can use this to get yourself out of a tough situation," and be like, it's just not worth it. But that's just me. Everyone has their own personal, preferences. Everyone has games that they just don't care for. For me, it's Kingdom Hearts. I know there are people who don't like The Legend of Zelda. They don't like the franchise. They don't like the characters. People don't like Mario. People don't like Kirby games. There are people who don't like other things. So, everyone has their shit. Everyone has their thing that basically makes them go, okay, this. Everyone has a game that they love. Like, I love the Yakuza games. Like, those are my jam, right? Like, I love Yakuza games so much that, like, I own all of them up to 5. I don't own 6. And, I mean, and I'm sure there are people who see Yakuza and like, what the fuck is this shit? It's not GTA, and they're turned off by it. So, everyone has their preferences, their proclivities, their pet peeves. Let's see, where else are we going? We're joined by Mario. Bia3 says Square Enix should also stop announcing games early. I don't think that's the problem with Square Enix. The problem with Square Enix is that they have shitty leadership. And they don't know, like, they aren't putting games in production that people want. Like, we shouldn't have had to wait till now to get Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 should have been on the PS2 or the PS3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, people shouldn't have had to wait till now to get Final Fantasy 15. We should have gotten Final Fantasy 15 on the PS3 or the PS2 even. No, the PS3. Mario Poker Nerd says hi. He says he hates Golden Sun. I mean, I personally like Golden Sun. I like the first 2 games. The third one's not that good. Just because it's a little unambitious.
Not to mention mechanically frustrating, like those no turning back points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's mechanically unambitious. There's things that go, like, there's things that there are entire sections of the game that you can miss, and they don't tell you, oh, if you go past this point, you can't go back. There's entire side sections that you have no way of knowing unless you had the strategy guide. And the original 2 Golden Sun games didn't have that, so it's kind of like you kind of like Camelot is one of the few studios that I feel has kind of gone down in quality over the years in terms of the quality of games they make. Like, I don't think their sports games are as good as they used to be. Golden Sun Dark Dawn kind of sucked, which is sad because there was a time when Camelot, especially on handheld, almost everything they made was like on point, but you can't be on top forever. Any other questions anyone has before we wrap things up? Anything?
Well, we should mention that there's now customizable outfits for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 from the DLC challenge. I've been hearing a lot of comments that how Pyro's swimsuit is a lot better than her regular outfit because it covers more.
I don't know. I personally think the shit should have been there the entire time. Oh, and for those of you in the chat section who kept on saying what that game was, and I was like, I know the name of this game. I looked it up. The name of the game where you could recruit anybody was Radiata Stories. I was about to call, and I was like, it was like Radiant Historia. No, it was Radiant something. And then I looked it up. It's Radiata Stories. Mario Perkiner says, I liked Mario Tennis Aces. See, that's where we disagree, because I thought that game was trash. I know a lot of people liked it, but I thought it was trash.
I was about to say, people said Ultra Smash was that.
No, I think Aces was, to me, was trash.
That I also have to agree with the guys disagreeing with you.
Yeah, like I said, everyone has their own, like liking something, disliking something is subjective. Something that you might like, I might not like. Something that I might not like, you might like. And I mean, variety is what makes this world worth living. The world would be shit if everyone was exactly the same.
Oh, actually, it'd still be crud even with variety of opinions, because they cause wars.
Well, what I was saying is that what variety makes the world worth living, right? Like if you went to a store and every store had the same food that tasted exactly the same, and every restaurant served the exact same food, like that sounds like hell to me. It's like every book is exactly the same. There's no variety. Oh, sounds horrible. Every day you wake up, you do the same thing every goddamn day. Mario Pokémon. Why did I not like Tennis Aces?
It's because of the single player. Even when Mr. Red Fox is a major single player person.
Yeah, I'm a major single player.
Which means he's playing the wrong game.
I'm a major single player. Well, you have to remember, like my favorite sports games are the handheld ones, which always had a really good single player component. Weister 20 thoughts on Elma,
which I find questionable.
Well, I mean, because they like I said, they were Camelot in their golden time. Like Mario Golf on the Game Boy Color had a really good single player. Mario Tennis on the handheld had a really good single player. Same thing with the Game Boy Advance version of those games. Mario Tennis, like they had really friggin' good single players. And then you get to the console version. I'm like, well, now that they have better technology, we're gonna get this awesome single player, and they're just the standard multiplayer shit, arcadey shit you could have played on any other system. And I'm like, this feels like a missed opportunity. But like I said, that's my personal opinion. That's what everyone likes. So Weister 20 says thoughts on Elma and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I mean, I was happy. Alma was one of my favorite characters. So, I mean, I know some people didn't like her, but I did. I thought she was hot. Even her alien form was pretty cool. Mario Pokémon. I felt the Golden Sun Lost Ages didn't really tell you where to go either. Yeah, but Lost Ages kind of, if you played the first game, you kind of knew pretty much what you had to do and where you had to go in Lost Ages. Because after a certain point in Lost Ages, the world opens up. But you know, whatever. Anything else you guys want to bring up before we wrap things up?
Oh, the first DLC character for SNK Heroines.
What is female Terry Bogard? I don't know.
No, it's Thief Arthur.
It's who?
From that one Square Enix game.
It's who?
Thief Arthur.
I don't know who that is. What?
From Million Arthur.
Still don't know who that is. Sorry.
Really?
We'd be in the dark with that one.
Yeah.
We might need a picture reference after this.
Sure. I'll find a link to it.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about. Sorry.
Here it is. There, I posted a link to it. To what she looks like.
I just don't know who you're talking about. Thief Arthur from Square Enix, Million Arthur. I've never heard of this game, so that's probably why I don't know who this character is.
Arcana Blood?
Yeah, I've heard of Arcana Blood. I didn't know it was.
I heard of Arcana Hearts, not Blood.
Yeah, I've heard of Arcana Blood, but like it's one of those things. I saw the title, but I didn't know what the game was about because it didn't look like something from Square. Like Square Enix doesn't make games I want to play anymore, pretty much, by and large. So
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I just kind of just.
And let's see, Legend of Zelda concert coming in Japan, and scrolling down. Oh yeah, Pepe Hare is going to be appearing in Starlink.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by the time that game comes out. It's probably going to have all of the major Star Fox characters.
The entire
Peppy,
Star
Slippy,
Fox crew.
maybe Wolf. Basically, if there's an amiibo for the character, it'll probably be in the game. So, although I have to say, they showed footage of Peppy. He looks chewed up as shit in Starlink. He looks like he's been through some shit. I think maybe in Star Fox Zero, he probably had a stroke. You know that level where you like take that secret path and you're just Peppy fighting against all these dudes. He just goes barrel, barrel, barrel.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think he had a stroke. I think he's having a stroke. Seriously, someone get him some help, man. He needs to see a doctor. I'm Peppy Hare. Barrel, barrel, barrel. Sorry. Here's a little bit of news for those of you who may or may not care. There's 3 billion people still using Netflix for DVDs.
Who's actually renting DVDs from Netflix.
Yeah, well, I mean, they still offer that option. Like, the thing is that there are people in America who live in places that have shitty internet
connection,
and they can't do streaming. Like, they have shitty internet or no internet. There are places in America where people's primary form of communication is still a real landline telephone. No, telephone. A telephone, folks, not a cell phone. A fucking telephone where they have to pick up a thing and dial some shit. And when they want to stop talking to someone, they hang that shit up on somebody. Click, fuck you. Bam. You kids don't know nothing about that shit because you're young.
Oh, I do.
No, I'm talking about the youngsters.
I was about to say I got one of those phones myself.
Yeah.
And lastly, it's been revealed that King K. Rool got into Smash Ultimate because of the ballot, and now his supporters are gonna send Sakurai a huge thank you letter for including him.
I think he prefers sake, but whatever. What do you think of Splatoon 2? Mario Pokenerd asks. I think it's a fun game. It doesn't grab me.
It doesn't feel the same like Splatoon 1, but it's still fun.
Yeah, it doesn't grab me the way Splatoon 1 did. Okay. It has more modes than the first Splatoon, and I'm not gonna deny that. It has a longer single player, that's fun. But my God, it just like the combat, like how they nerf some of the abilities, like I mean, I hate to say this, but you really miss the gamepad, the dual screen experience. You really miss it with Splatoon. For me, I miss the dual screen stuff. And Splatoon 2 just doesn't scratch the itch quite as well as the first game did for me. That's my own personal opinion.
The lack of gamepad features from the first game that were previously from the first game was a bummer, but overall it offered a lot of new features, modes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, look, I'm not taking that away from it. I'm saying that despite all of that, the lack of gamepad features and how they nerf certain abilities so that, like, even though you didn't have the gamepad, it didn't feel to assuage you not having the dual screen experience. To me, it makes Splatoon feel lesser, even though content-wise, it has more stuff. It has more like Salmon Run is fun, but I mean, the Salmon Run could have been in the first Splatoon. I mean, there's nothing in Splatoon 2 that couldn't have been in the first game.
I was gonna say the only one I was iffy about was Salmon Run, but I can hear what you're getting at.
I mean, Salmon Run could have been in the first Splatoon. I mean, that's kind of the problem with it's. I mean, that's kind of my biggest problem with the Switch is just it feels like a alternate console and not a step forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Or you're just saying that because you're a Wii U player who is a bit salty that the people who hated on the Wii U back in its day are now praising the Switch.
No, no, not really. I just feel like there are no games on the Switch aside from maybe Mario Odyssey to an extent that make me say, "Wow, this would have been totally impossible last gen." Like there are games on the Wii U that I couldn't see being on the Wii. There are games on the Wii I couldn't see being possible on the GameCube. There are games on the GameCube I couldn't see being possible on the N64 and vice versa. There's practically nothing on the Switch right now, thus far, where I'm like, this shit couldn't have been on the last system. You know, and I mean, you know, people are going to say, well, you could say that about any console. And I mean, like, you can to an extent. Like, there's a lot of games on the PS4 where I'm like, this shit could have been on the PS3. Like, it shouldn't have taken this long for people to get their Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon collections. That shit could have been on the PS3, no problem. You know, there's lots of games that could have been on the PS3. But I mean, I'm sorry, like the Switch is not this. The Switch, in terms of gameplay, is not doing anything really revolutionary thus far that I've seen. The only revolutionary game I've seen from the Switch really is Mario Party, where you have the different gamepad screens, like the different Switch, like things where you put the things down and people like building. That's really unique, and that's using the hardware in a way that's not really comparable to anything you could do last gen.
And as well as Nintendo Labo.
I'm not giving them credit for a fucking cardboard construction.
And ARMS as well.
I'm not giving them credit for ARMS either. Because that's basically that's
those two games.
The reason I'm not giving them credit, because that's basically Wii Motion plus 3.0. Like
Sorry, but
Wii Motion plus. Okay, you had the Wiimote, which is the Wii. And then you have then you had Wii Motion Plus, which was the Wiimote 2.0, and now you have this, which is basically a highly upgraded Wiimote, except instead of it using infrared, it's using gyroscopic controls. So it's Wii Motion 3.0 basically. Not really. That's a refinement of something that was already there. But aside from that, I mean, like you could have conceivably had an ARMS-like game. It probably wouldn't have been as precise, but I mean, people still would have probably had fun with it. So I'm not really, you know, and a cardboard constructions kit that they charge you $80 for. I'm sorry. It's a brilliant business move, but I'm not like, oh, it's so impressive. To me. I know some people might find it impressive, but I don't. But Mario Party is very impressive. The way they have the different you're basically using the consoles to talk to each other or interacting with each other in order to construct like mini games. That's really fucking unique. So that's next gen. That is one of the few next gens I've seen from the Switch in terms of this couldn't have been done on the last gen system. The HD Rumble couldn't have been done on the last gen system. I give them credit for that. But other than that, I'm just like, this is not an impressive console for me.
Oh, I almost forgot about 1-2 Switch. That one utilizes the Switch's functions.
Yeah, and I mean, but to be fair, 1-2 Switch is basically a demo reel. It's basically like the Wii Sports. Like, really, I stand by this. 1-2 Switch should have been a packing game for the Switch. Just take the hit, Nintendo, and just made it a packing game. Which I think now for a lot of the new bundles, it is a packing game. Which it should have been day one of fucking packing game. Weister20 says, "Is there anything about Dragon Quest that Square is screwing up? Not bringing over the 3DS version. basically keeping people in, holding people over the barrel for a for the what's it called? For the Nintendo Switch version. Even though I'm gonna guess the Nintendo Switch version is probably gonna be the highest selling one. I don't have any evidence of that, but it probably will be. Weister20 has another question. What Nintendo-related content would Rogue Squadron get if the franchise was ever brought back? Who wants to tackle that first?
What was that?
What Nintendo-related content would Rogue Squadron get if the franchise was ever brought back?
Ooh, that's a tricky one on me. I'm out.
I mean, what IP they could use as a Rogue Squadron style game?
No, just what content could they put? What Nintendo content could they put in that would kind of fit and would still look cool?
Let's see, Metroid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they would have the characters, but I think like having Samus's gunship in there, like her original gunship, and then the sleek one they have in Prime. Maybe the R-Wings from
Star Fox.
From Star Fox. Maybe the hover thing from Star Fox Zero. Maybe the Landmaster. Kind of. Well, the Landmaster's so slow, I don't think that would really work. But you had levels in the original Rogue Squadron games where you were the AT-ST walker, so maybe the Landmaster would fit right in. Yeah, just vehicles. Like, that'd be cool.
And I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so that's the end of the podcast. Thank you for joining. Remember, if you would like to be a part of one of these podcasts, leave, just say, in the comment section of one of the videos or the podcast.
Just let us know that you want to get in.
You want to get in. If not in the one that we're in right now at the time, but like a future one, let me know. If you have a Google Plus or a Gmail account, I'll email you. You can email me. We'll dialogue with each other, and I'll try to accommodate you. Anything anyone wants to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Not that I know of on the spot, so you guys are good.
All right.
It's nothing new at the moment. Well, I could mention that the Detective Pikachu movie poster just got released online. So there's
I heard about that. I didn't watch it because I was just like, I don't really care. But for those of you who do, it's in the interwebs, the intranet, if you will.
It's just the movie poster, not the trailer.
Yeah, but I'm sure the trailer will come out eventually. I have a couple of reviews that came out later towards the end of this week for Guacamelee 1 and 2. If you guys get a chance, watch them. Pretty fun. They're short. You can watch both of them in around 10, 11, 12 minutes. And I'll end this with a joke from Red Fox, one of my favorite comedians. So basically, a teacher has a sentence bee with her class, and her sentence bee, she says, well, in order for you to pass this class, in order for you to do well in this, you have to use the word definitely properly in a sentence. And she's got 3 students, and she goes to the first, and she says, well, give me your sentence. And if you don't know how to use, if you have any questions, you can ask me, and so that'll help you use definitely correctly in the sentence. So the first kid says, well, teacher, it's raining and the ground is definitely wet. And she's like, that's good. You used definitely correctly. And the second little boy stands up and he says, well, I ate 2 bowls of spaghetti and I definitely am full. She's like, yes, you used definitely correctly. And the last boy was just sitting there and he was looking like, had this dull look on his face. She's like, boy, stand up. And he's like, I wasn't asleep. I was just, okay. I tell you what, let me look. If I ask you this question, you answer me, I can get this. I can do right in this B. She's like, okay, state your question. He's like, when you fart, is it lumpy? And she says, what? He's like, if you fart, is it lumpy? And she goes, no, if you fart, it definitely is not lumpy. He's like, well, teacher, I have definitely shit my pants. So
thank you for the humor.
That is another Red Fox original, slightly tweaked for me. So with that, I bid you good night.
And hype responsibly, please.